In this section, we're going to put everything together. All of the graphs, all of the costs, the profits, the losses, the short and long run decisions, and how things adjust. We'll start off by looking at a very typical prompt, and this is what a lot of exam questions look like at both the honors and AP level. So it says, assume the market for corn is competitive, and that firms in the market are currently earning economic profits. So now you have to A, draw a correctly labeled graph for both the market and the typical farmer, B, show the long run adjustment, and C, show all the prices or quantities. And I'll add in another one on that, which is show profit and loss. All right, now the first thing that you want to do is just take a second to go ahead and draw the basic graph that we start with for all cost curves. So on the right-hand side of this, I've just drawn the basic cost curve graph that we've been looking at the whole time. The only real difference is that I've added another set of axes just to the left, and that's also showing the market. So here we have the firm, and here we have the market. The next thing that you have to do in answering this problem is following the directions carefully. We're going to have to draw the rest of the market and the firm's revenues. It said that the firms were earning a profit, so that indicates to me that the intersection of MR and MC is going to have to be above the average total cost curve. So I'll go ahead and draw Mr. Party here. Now we have Mr. Party. Next thing that we would do, given this, is show how the price comes from the market. Remember that competitive firms are price takers. And as I mentioned in class, although the firm actually derives its price from the market, we're going to do it a little bit backwards by starting with the firm and then drawing the market, because it's just a little easier that way. So in other words, supply and demand in the market establish a price, and the firm charges that price. Now I like to show that the price is fully connected by making sure that I have a number that's the same on both sides. So in the market, the price is P1, and for the firm, we're going to say Mr. Party equals also $5. Then you go ahead and mark the quantities for both the firm and the market. Let's say the market is producing Q1, and the firm produces where MR equal MC, and so it's also going to be producing Q1 here. Now Q1 for the market and firm are different. For the firm, we'll say that Q1 is equal to 20 units. And let's just say that the market is producing 10,000 units. So again, this firm is a pretty small part of the market overall. These can be bushels or ears of corn for that matter. It doesn't make a difference. So if there are 10,000 units being produced by the market overall, and each firm is producing 20 units, then you can just do a little bit of basic division, 10,000 divided by 20, to find that the market has 500 firms in it. And so I'll just write that down here, 500 firms. And we'll put that in parentheses. Now this is a fully labeled graph that takes care of the first part of the situation, except for one thing. We also need to include our profits. Now it said that farmers were earning profits, so we are going to do price minus average total cost times the quantity. And we want to be very careful as well to label it profit. This pretty much satisfies the first part of the question. And now we have to show our long run adjustment. Now we know that in the long run, if the price is above the average total cost, then firms are going to enter. And that should make sense. Anytime you have a market where profits are being made, other firms enter the market. So over time, as firms enter, we're going to see the supply curve shift to the right. As the supply curve shifts to the right, that means that the price in the market, as well as for the firm, is going to fall. And so the price in the market is going to ultimately have to fall to the point where firms are no longer earning a profit or a loss. So now I'm going to get rid of this guy. You would leave it on your graph, obviously. I'm going to remove it just to make things a little bit easier to look at. So this is where we're going to end up in the long run. The dotted line here, we'll leave our original supply curve, so we have S and S1. As the firms enter the market, the supply increases. Now we produce this quantity. It's got to be greater than 10,000 when I just say 12,000. And over here, the typical firm is producing also where MR equal MC, and they're going to be producing less, quantity 2. Let me just call that 15 units. Now, how is it possible that we have 12,000 being produced in the market now, but each firm is producing less than it was before at 15? Well, the way that that happens is because firms have entered the market. So now we've gone from 500, if you do 12,000 divided by the 15, there are now 800 firms in the market. So each firm is producing a smaller quantity than it was before, from 20 down to 15. On the other hand, there are more firms in the market, so the total supply has gone up. This shows you how the long run adjustment works. So we started off with people earning a profit. When firms were earning a profit, that encouraged other people to enter the market. As other firms entered the market, the supply increased. The increase in supply caused the price to fall. We'll say now it's $4. And so when the price fell in the market, the typical firm saw its price go from, we'll say MR down to MR1, which is now $5. So our original MR was a little, that looks like it was for down here, but actually our original MR was equal to 5, and now it would be equal to, MR1 would be equal to 4. So as the supply increased in the market, the price that the individual firms could get for their product fell. That forced some firms to, to reduce the amount of supply that there were. However, more firms had entered in. So they come in and they take market share from each other. And this is how you adjust from short run to long run. Now, I encourage you to try one of these yourself. Create the exact same situation, but show firms that are operating at a loss, in which case the supply decreases and the price rises. Either way, in the long run, firms always end up in the same place. On our side-by-side graph, we'll have our price, our two axes, and we have marginal cost, Mr. Party, average cost, and we know that in the market, P1, Q1, our firm is going to produce this quantity. In the long run, we always end up here at the minimum of average total cost. We end up at the minimum of average total cost because all of the profits are taken by firms that enter the market, all of the losses are eliminated by firms exiting the market, and we always end up at this equilibrium point where firms are producing at their efficient scale in the long run.